This presentation is about American poet T.S. Eliot, who lived from 1888 to 1965. Thomas Stearns, or T.S. Eliot, was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1888. He attended Smith Academy in St. Louis and then the Milton Academy in Massachusetts, as his family was originally from New England. Soon after the turn of the century, Eliot began seeing his poems and short stories in print, and writing would occupy him for the rest of his life. Eliot began courses at Harvard University in 1906, graduating 3 years later with a Bachelor of Arts degree. After graduating, Eliot served as a philosophy assistant at Harvard for a year, and then left for France and the Sorbonne to study philosophy. He finished his advanced degree at Harvard while in Europe, but due to the onset of World War I, he never went back to Harvard to take the final oral exam for his PhD. He soon married Vivian Haig Wood and took up a job in London, England, as a schoolteacher. Not long after, he became a bank clerk, a position he would hold until 1925. It was around this time that T.S. Eliot began a lifelong friendship with American poet Ezra Pound, who immediately recognized Eliot's poetic genius and helped to publish Eliot's work. The first poem of this period, and the first of Eliot's important works, was The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which appeared in 1915. Eliot then devoted himself to writing poetry and tending to his day job. In addition, he was busy writing literary criticism and reviews, which would become as respected as his poetry. In 1919, Eliot published a collection of poems which contained a poem that used blank verse interior monologue, and it was unlike anything that had ever been written in the English language. In 1922, Eliot saw the publication of The Wasteland, a colossal and complex examination of post-war disillusionment. At the time he wrote the poem, Eliot's marriage was failing, and he and his wife were both experiencing nervous disorders. The Wasteland almost immediately developed a cult-like following from all literary corners, and is often considered the most influential poetic work of the 20th century. The same year The Wasteland was published, Eliot founded what would become an influential literary journal called The Criterion. The poet also edited the journal throughout the span of its publication from 1922 to 1939. In 1924, Eliot left his bank post to join a publishing house where he would remain for the rest of his career, influencing the writing of many young poets. He officially became a British citizen in 1927. Eliot continued to write, and his major later poems include Ash Wednesday and the Four Quartets. During this period, he also wrote The Use of Poetry and the Use of Criticism, After Strange Gods, and Notes Towards the Definition of Culture. Due to his literary accomplishments in poetry, criticism, and drama, T.S. Eliot received the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1948. In the period between the two world wars, poetry and literary criticism was dominated predominantly by T.S. Eliot. He shaped literary criticism and style for a generation. T.S. Eliot is seen as the most authoritative voice of modernism, or the self-conscious break with traditional style of poetry and verse, in which authors experimented with literary form and expression in an attempt to follow Ezra Pound's maxim to make it new. Eliot's The Wasteland was one of the most influential poems, and is the poem that set the tone of the post-World War I era, as it emphasizes the decay of Western culture and voices modern despair. Eliot's work is often fragmented and uses reminiscences, vignettes, literary allusions, and anthropological lore, all of which became models of modernist techniques. Eliot's work is very intellectual and anti-romantic. He often uses dramatic monologue and the theme of isolated consciousness.